Everything on my list. Come on, let me just check my camera. See, I just turn that on like that. And hideous, got it. Cool.
I hope you recorded that.
Today we're going to be talking about budget smartphones. I have Chris here, Tim here. Both of these guys have been using Android for some time. These questions are going to be a little more thorough because they have a little more experience with Android. Both Tim and Chris own third generation Moto Gs. Tim has the $180 version that has 1 gig of RAM and 8 gigs of storage. Chris has the $220 version that has 2 gigs of RAM and 16 gigs of storage. How long have you both owned your third gen Moto G?
I bought mine in the middle of September 2015. So
Yeah, mine was around August, I believe, when we got the new contract.
Okay, so about 4 or 5 months for both of you, right?
Right.
Just about. What phones did you guys own before this?
I had the Galaxy S3.
I had the Moto G 2nd gen.
So have either of you ever owned an iPhone?
No.
What do you use your phones for the most?
Basically, internet browsing, YouTube, any basically heavy data usage, multiple hours a day.
Yeah, because you're on a family plan with me, and I
Right.
know out of everyone on our family plan, you probably go the most with data, right?
Yeah, I think the fastest I went through 10 gigs was about 5 days.
That's crazy.
Wow.
That's crazy. What about you, Chris?
Podcasts in the morning just from my daily commute, and then evening commute I listen to a lot of podcasts. YouTube, Spotify,
Okay.
that's mostly it really.
Okay. All right. Tell me about your battery life. Can you get through a whole day without charging?
I believe I can. I honestly don't really. I always bring my charger with me, but I've done it. This is by far the best battery I've had, as far as
For sure.
longevity.
For sure.
So yeah, I believe I can. I just don't think I've ever tested it out.
Okay. You too, Chris?
Yeah, so I wake up like 5:30 in the morning, and I'm out the door by 6:15 or so, and I don't get back home until 8 o'clock. So
Do you know how much percentage you have left on your phone? If you had to guess, or
probably
average?
40s.
Oh wow,
40%, yeah.
that's pretty good.
I don't have time too much to use my phone at work per se, but I mean it lasts for a while.
Do you guys have any idea how much screen on time you're getting? And by screen on time, I mean how long you keep your screen on. I don't know if that's a stat you guys ever check on your phones.
I never checked.
Yeah, I don't check for that.
But I guess in a way that's a good thing, because then you really don't worry about battery life then, because you're pretty much able to get through your whole day.
Right.
Okay, good. The Moto G runs on a particularly slower processor, the Snapdragon 410. On top of that, Tim, yours is running with 1 gig of RAM compared to Chris running 2 gigs. Do either of you experience lag or stuttering on a phone with these lower end specs? If so, in what case? App-wise, or if you're running multiple apps, do you guys see any kind of lag or stuttering?
I don't. I've noticed from the upgrade that I had, from the RAM and the memory upgrade.
From the second gen, right?
Second gen, no lag, no stuttering.
Well, what about you, Tim, since you have the 1 gig?
I use it a lot constantly, so I have a lot of apps open. So I feel some stutter sometimes, and I just got to close some apps that I haven't used in a couple hours. Usually when I use my phone, I'll use it for a long period of time. I'll be there for a good hour or two, looking up stuff. And then after a while, I'll feel like it's being sluggish. So then I'll close some apps, and then it's fine.
Well, that's good to know. Yeah, because you know what? My mom uses a third gen Moto G, and she has the 8 gig storage, 1 gig RAM. And I was actually messing around with it yesterday, and I noticed it was slow. It was really stuttering, and it was really lagging, and I was surprised. And I noticed that it was doing that because she was running out of storage space.
Yeah.
I know you had that problem, Chris, on your second gen. Was it lagging when you were running out of space then too?
Yes.
Okay.
It would lag because of that.
Because
it was, what was it, 8 gigabytes?
8 gigs, yeah.
Yeah, so I would always have to delete apps
Okay.
Just to
Well,
save space.
that's good to know. So, I like for people who are looking to get a Moto G, I would imagine then if you are using a lot of apps, you're probably better off buying the 16 gig internal one then.
Yeah.
Okay, Chris, I know you own the second gen Moto G, but before that you owned an S3, right?
Yeah.
And you also owned an S3, right,
Right.
Tim? Can you guys see yourselves going back to a phone that doesn't run a stock version of Android?
Hell no.
No.
Hell no.
No, I can't deal with that bloatware.
Yeah.
I mean-
you can tell the huge difference from a Samsung with all that stuff that they have running in the background to a stock.
When you're limited to a budget, has the Moto G lived up to its potential? Is the phone worth $180, Tim? Chris, is the phone worth $220?
Yeah, of course. I haven't had any problems with this like I had with my other phones that may have cost less and are supposed to perform better. But it's done everything I asked for and more. So yeah, I'd recommend it.
Chris?
I personally think this phone should be worth even more just because of how happy I've been from the second gen to the third gen. And even my coworkers have been so surprised how cheap the phone was
Right.
and all the things it could do. So
That's great.
I'm
No,
extremely happy with mine.
I'm glad to hear that from both of you guys. Tim, if I told you I'd take your 8 gig storage, 1 gig RAM Moto G and give you the 16 gig storage, 2 gig RAM version for $40 more right now, would you do it?
Yeah, I'd definitely do it. So if I was, it's just for $40 more and being able to just keep downloading apps and not have to worry about transferring, yeah, I would definitely do it.
At such a cheap price for an unlocked phone, would you buy next year's version of the Moto G if it included a faster processor, 2 gigs of RAM, and a better camera at the same price? I know you guys have just owned this for like 4 or 5 months, but would you spend another, well, let's say it's $220 for the 2 gig version. Would you spend $220 to get next year's version if you knew it had a faster processor, a better camera?
I would.
You would?
I don't think I would. I mean, as far as in hindsight, I probably should have bought the 2 gig version of RAM. But as far as this phone, it's doing what I want it to do. It's sure it has some skips, but doesn't mean I want to go out and buy a new phone just because it's lags up a little bit.
Sure.
Yeah, I want my phone to last, so if it does last,
Right.
I would keep it as long as I can.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good to know. Last question. If you had $350 to upgrade to the Nexus 5X or $400 to upgrade to the Moto X Pure Edition, would you do it? Or are you content with what you have? Are you okay spending $180, $220? Or do you think spending $350 or $400 would be better for either of you?
I'm content with it.
I'm fine with this phone. I believe there's no need for me to spend $400 on a phone. I mean,
Yeah, for me, I'm just using the basic YouTube and all that camera. I mean, I don't even take pictures much, so.
Right. So for around $200, I mean, you pretty much have a phone that does everything that you want for your needs, right?
Yes.
yeah.
Okay. Cool. Thank you guys. Thank you.
Hey guys, Chris here.
No, Chris, no.
Hey guys, Mike here.
Mike, you're not even in this video.